Hey, welcome back to the Backwoods Gourmet. Today, we're grilling oysters. Y'all stay tuned. Last Sunday on our way back from Pensacola, our little mini vacation, we went through Apalachicola, Florida, and all of us Floridians and most of the people around the southeast know that Apalachicola is famous for its oysters. So we did stop at a place right on the water where the commercial guys come in, and found one place that sold them retail and got 30 pounds of fresh Apalachicola oysters. So we're working on them, and I want to show you guys a great dish to do with fresh oysters on the Weber kettle grill. It's almost like oyster bake. Alright guys, oysters come in these bags like this. This is what we got left. We've been chomping on these things for a couple days, and they're really dirty. These are right out of the bay. So first thing you want to do is clean them real good, and the easiest way to get that started is in a pan like this and a good old water hose. We're just going to rinse them with a little pressure and wash the mud off of them. And we'll keep pouring that out till they're nice and clean. These are all nice and clean. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start selecting some for grilling. Now, you're going to have them in all different varieties. This one here, I think he's got a large piece of old shell on the back, so he's really heavy, so I don't think he's going to be a great one for grilling just because of all the extra weight he's attached to. We want to get some that are reasonably flat, and it doesn't really matter the size, just as long as they'll kind of, you test them out. If they'll sit down like that and they won't rock or fall over, going to be perfect. Here we're just going to do an appetizer size portion for you guys. That one's probably acceptable. That one's a little small. So again, we want that to be able to lay nice and flat. So when we put it on the grill, it doesn't dump out all of our prepared. Now this one, see, he wants to rock either way, but I think that little tip part will sit down on the grill and he'll be fine. We'll go through here and we'll pick the like six or eight best ones for presentation, and if he has another one with a lot of the old growth that he's grown on top of, but they need that to survive. Okay, first we need our cleaned raw oysters in the shells. You're going to need a glove for one of your hands at least. I'm right-handed, so that's a left-handed glove. Then I got an oyster knife and a small paring knife. And over here, I got a pan to put them on. And as always, if you're cooking outside, you're going to need a nice cold adult belt. Yeah. I only had one, I swear. Okay, we got our glove on, so we're just going to go ahead and grab one of these guys and an oyster knife. If you don't know how to shuck an oyster, I'm going to show you. And I don't care what anybody says, this is not easy. Right back here in this little corner, you'll see this was not as well defined as some, but there's this little point of the hinge right here, and that's where you want to get the tip of your oyster knife in there far enough that you can twist and pop the flat part of the shell off. One side of the shell is more rounded than the other, so usually the smoother side, that's going to be your top, and your rough side is going to be your bottom right there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and give this one a shot. And some of these guys, I don't care what you try, he's not coming open unless you give him a little steam. Now that's one of the reasons we got a glove is to try to protect your hand in case this knife slips. And let me tell you, when these guys are fresh like this, they can be a real bear, and this one's just chipping the shell off. So that's probably a good example of one we might not be able to shuck raw. We might have to save him for a steamer. So we picked a few extras here. So let's try a different one. We definitely need a cutting board, something like that to get down on. Okay, that one I got in there and just flake the shell. So whew, not having much luck. This is hard work. Alright, well, I saved this one because he looks like he's going to be easy, because that spot is very well defined on this one. So let's really work our knife in there. We got it in there, and now we're just going to twist, and you'll feel a little pressure release. Now you can use this to go ahead and take that off, but I like to use a thin bladed knife, like a paring knife, like this paring knife here, and get right underneath that top shell and just work it around under there. And once you cut that muscle, then there's your oyster. Alright, you want to keep these upright to keep most of that juice. You want to keep all that goodie in the shell if you can. So when we set them on our pan over here, we're going to keep it upright. That's one of the reasons why we selected the nice flat ones. So we'll see how we do on this guy. Like I said, some of these guys are easier than others. And that does take A, some practice, and B, a lot of strength. I thought I got him, but again, he's just flaking apart on me. Try one more. Again, some are easier than others. I found that these long skinny ones are way easier to get open than the short fat ones. We'll finish them up. We'll go on to the next step. Okay, here's our 8 or 9 that we're going to do. So we're going to throw these in the fridge real quick, and then we're going to get our grill ready. Have our chimney charcoal going. Going to go ahead and put that and set up for indirect cooking. So we're going to put it off to one side. We still have some of our coals from our last cook in there, and that's fine. So you want to put your grate on, and this time we want our little flappers over the fire, because we're going to add a little wood to generate a little smoke. Okay, time to make our dressing. All we're going to need is about half a stick of melted butter, your favorite hot sauce, and some key lime juice. Hey guys, this could not be simpler. About a tablespoon, depending on how hot you like yours, tablespoon of hot sauce into the butter, and about a tablespoon of key lime juice. And just take a fork, put those together. Should turn a beautiful amber color. And a little taste. Perfect. Okay, next thing we need, real Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Okay, we're going to use the fine side of our grater with these little holes here to grate this. So this little fine grates. And we're going to need about, we got 8 or 9 oysters. I'll say we're going to need about 1/4 of a cup. So we'll go ahead and get that done. But you really need it on the fine side. Don't use the coarse side of the grater. Or you can, if you got one of those little microplanes, that would work. Just want it pretty finely grated. I'm going to say finely grated. I have the old-fashioned kind here, so you know. You're going to want enough of this for a pinch on each oyster you have. So we're going to say that's pretty close to 1/4 of a cup there. If we need some more, we can always make more. Okay guys, my 2 cents when it comes to food safety in oysters. You know, the old wives' tale is you can only eat oysters in a month with an R. Well, it's May. Last I checked, no R in May. I don't know where that got started. Like a long time ago, I'm sure, before we had all the you know, FDA and you know, health safety inspections, things like that. They basically, if you break down the month with the R thing, the months without R's are your warmer months of the year: May, June, July. You know, September, October. Well, September and October do have an R. So, and those are the 2 hottest months in Florida, and the highest water temperatures in Florida. So that old rule don't always mean diddly. It all has to do with water temperature. Nowadays, oysters are randomly tested for their bacteria level for commercial harvest, and when that bacteria level gets too high, they will close that area for harvesting. You can collect oysters in the wild and cook them in any month of the year from clean salt water. You know, do you want to harvest them next to the nuclear power plant? Probably not. But if you're out on the intercoastal, clean, pristine water, you see oysters, you want to get some, hey, and it's July, as long as you're cooking them, you can rest assured that you're not going to have any problem with bacteria. Would I eat them raw when the water temperature is 85? Probably not. Which I'm not a huge raw fan anyway, but I like mine steamed lightly and fried. And the way we're doing them today, which was a recipe I actually just invented yesterday. Me and Mrs. Backwoods tried it and we just had to share it. So I hope you guys take my 2 cents worth on oysters, and hey, if you get some, definitely make what we're making today. Alright, good old Mr. Weber. He says 450 right now. Perfect. That's about where we want to keep it. We got the little guy down here on the bottom about half open. Okay, half open, running 450. So what we're going to do right now is going to pop the lid off here, and a little warm. It's a little warm. And I got 1 chunk of. I'm going to have to get something to lift that with. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to put in 1 chunk of oak. Whatever good hardwood you got, hickory would be fine. I got some hickory, I just don't have it chopped up in small pieces. So I'm going to put that back over, put the lid back on, and wait for it to start giving us a little smoke. Our cook time on this is going to be very short, about 8 minutes. Alright guys, it's grilling time. I'll show you how to do it. Now here's our oysters. We're going to go ahead and just lay them on the indirect side. Try to get them to, if they won't sit level, put them long ways with the grates, because they're, you know, the bottom of the shells are rounded, and you want them to remain like cups, because we're getting ready to do some magic with them. If you can get them to stand up, and sometimes you can actually prop one on the other to try to lift or balance them. And if you can't get it all the way, then it's no biggie. Alright, some of them are flatter than others and they work a little better. But this is a dish, this is an appetizer. Alright, it's been about 6 minutes. The fire was pretty hot. And they look perfect right now. The butter's starting to brown and the cheese is starting to brown. So we're just going to go ahead and we didn't want to do that. I forget how I did this. Okay, grab them by the edge of the shell so that you don't screw up your cheese like I just did. Just grab them right by the edge of the shell there. Don't try to grab them crossways. What not to do. Sometimes we tell you what not to do. And I'm telling you, don't always grab it by the edge of the shell with your tongs. I mean, don't pick them up with your hands for sure. They are hot. There. Save them for your presentation. Okay, those are gorgeous. So, we'll get them ready for the plate. Alright folks, time for the plate. And we have our long plate here today. So we're just going to go ahead. Actually, first thing I want to do is I have made a ceviche with some fresh green scallions from the garden. And what we did was just slice the scallion. We put in key lime juice, a tap of hot sauce, and some salt. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use the actual green pepper on that, but or green onion so much as we're just going to dribble some of that juice right on the plate like that. Now we have some more of our butter hot sauce that we did. I'll put a little bit of that down too. And we'll put our oysters on. And you know, I like to put them alternate. It kind of invites people from both sides of it on an appetizer. We're going to fill up the whole plate. Just like that. Now we'll take just one or two of the ceviche. These are, you know, softened up in the lime juice. Kind of sticky. A couple of those on each oyster. Get a few on the plate. Like that. There you go. This is grilled oysters with spicy butter and Parmigiano Reggiano. Awesome. Alright, well, remember I told you these are like oyster bacon. You know, that cheese kind of melts to the shell there, forms kind of a crust. And we noticed we didn't cut the oyster loose from the bottom of the shell. We left it on there so it wouldn't slide out. So don't cut them loose from the side you leave it on. Let me try. That is truly a gift from the ocean. In this case, Gulf of Mexico. And you know, the smokiness from the wood we used on there really comes through with the cheese. Alright, so if you get you some whole oysters, you know, it's a bit of work, but definitely worth the effort. These things are really turned out awesome, and you know, I would suggest if you're anywhere in Florida or have access to them, get Apalachicola oysters. They are world famous. So as always, thanks for watching the Backwoods Gourmet. Keep subscribing, sharing, commenting on the page there. See us over on Facebook, and we'll see you next time.